It is Tuesday, October 11th, and I'm Austin from Calling Our Shot.
And I'm Logan from Calling Our Shot.
And we are back with our two favorite picks. We had the day off yesterday, but our two favorite game picks for this divisional round playoffs are coming your guys' way.
As always, guys, just do us a quick favor. Go down and hit that subscribe button if you already aren't subbed. Austin, I know you've been monitoring our channel. We've been getting a ton of new subscribers. So if you are one of those new subscribers, welcome. If you're not subscribed, why don't you join them?
I appreciate that, Logan. Go hit that subscribe button. Go hit that like button. We're inching towards that 50 unit mark. Can we get there? We were on a 7-1 run, and that continued on Sunday as we took the under 6.5 runs in that Padres Mets game 3. Now it's sweaty as you can see the final score. Padres did it all themselves. Shout out the Mets for not showing up and cashing that under for us. Hopefully we can stay hot for you guys. I only have one or two notes. Our college football week 7 best bets video, that will be live in a couple hours. So go check out that one, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Set your alarms. It'll be live then with our 10 favorite picks. Then we've been helping people make some money. They decided to give back and become COS All-Star. So I got a long list. All these new people, we appreciate you for supporting the channel. Kibora, I pronounced that wrong. Kebra, Daniel, Boz, C. Truitt, Yquay, 5000, Manny, Freeband, Seth, Maurice, Hardick, Zach. We appreciate you guys as always for supporting the channel. If you want to support us, click that join button on the channel. Only costs $2.99 a month. It's right below the video. But Logan, it's a good day to be live. Baseball's back. What you got for the people today?
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting series of games. But we're going to the Mariners.
I forgot to note before I cut you off. At the end of the video, we'll talk about our parlay of the day, and we'll also talk about who we think is going to win all 4 of these series.
Yes,
kick it off,
Logan. Yes, we definitely will. This is playoff baseball. This is such an exciting time for me, especially. We're going to the Mariners versus Astros game, and I'm taking the Mariners plus 1.5 as my official pick in this one. Minus 114 odds on FanDuel's your best value. And first of all, I love to see 83% of the money on Houston while we're recording this video. That makes me smile. Now, and that's not the reason I'm picking this, so calm down in the comments. But Seattle already been great to me one time. I picked them game 1 at Toronto, and they absolutely came through for us at plus value. So I'm not asking them to win today, but if they want to, they sure can. Now they're facing the Astros ace in Verlander, right? Verlander 2.34 ERA and a 0.92 WHIP versus Seattle this year. Verlander, super solid. I can't come out and knock him at all. Verlander, 1 earned run allowed to Seattle in each of his last 3 starts against them too. Just putting up the breadstick on the scoreboard is really, really demoralizing for the Seattle offense. So the question is, can they get to Verlander? Have they gotten to Verlander all year? Absolutely, right? One start sticks out. Verlander had 6 earned runs allowed to this Mariners team. 4 of those runs in the first inning. Now, I'm sorry for Nerfy Nation if you had the Nerfy in that one, but Verlander, whatever Seattle did in that game, I guarantee you they're going back and watching tape and like, how do we pounce on this guy? How do we take advantage? Whether it be first pitch swinging, whether it be, get late in counts. I don't know, but I guarantee you they're probably going to be dissecting that game and saying, how can we once again exploit Justin Verlander? Seattle, bringing some hot bats into Houston too, right? Seattle's hitting 270 in their last series versus Toronto. Their offense came through when they needed it, down 8-1, come back and win in epic fashion. That's an offense I want to back. I don't want to back some hit or miss offenses, but this is definitely one that has been hit recently. And now on the other side, for pitching for the Mariners today, we've got Logan Gilbert. First of all, great first name, Mr. Gilbert. 2.52 ERA and a 1.08 WHIP. This year versus Houston, and a 2.16 walk per 9 ratio. That's extremely important because I want pitchers that throw strikes. Don't put on the free base runners because against a very talented Astros team, free base runners is what sinks you. Houston hit 313 in their last 3 games. They have a ton of playoff experience on that lineup. But that batting average is due regression. I don't care what you want to say. This is playoff baseball. These games are tight, and some of the bats maybe are a little bit rusty, right? Houston had several days off. Do they come out and aren't seeing Logan Gilbert? Well, that is definitely a possibility. Houston, 1st in bullpen ERA. Seattle, 6th in bullpen ERA. So Houston obviously does have the slight advantage there. But the Seattle bullpen has a lot of very capable arms that I think can keep this game close. Right? We don't need them to technically win. We just need them not to lose by 2 runs. And I think they can do that for us today. So I'm going to be taking the Mariners plus 1.5 on the run line. But Austin, what do you got for us today?
Logan, I love the pick because, like you said, I mean, teams that have a couple days off, you never really know what they're going to show up that first game initially back. I know a lot of MLB players say they like playing every single day just so they don't get out of that rhythm. But for my official pick, I'm going to go to the Guardians and Yankees game. And while I'm not taking a team to win in this one or to cover, I'm going to be taking the Guardians team total over 2.5 runs at -110 on BetMGM. It's 2.5 standard across the books. Take it out that line. And let me explain why I like this line. Now, yes, if you look back to the last series, the wild card round, yeah, the Guardians left their bats, and I hope, honestly, they leave their bats in Cleveland as they go to New York to play these games because they only scored 3 runs over 23 innings pitched. Now, it is worth noting, the Rays obviously started Shane McClanahan, a lefty in that, and they threw a lot of left-handers out against the Guardians. The Guardians are not necessarily known as the best left-hitting team, but today they don't have to face the lefty. They're going to face Garrett Cole, who's not unhittable. You see, we took a similar line. We took that Padres thing about Garrett Cole, but we've seen Garrett Cole come in here and he can give up 3 runs in the first inning. Well, I'm not anticipating he does that. Garrett Cole on the year, 3.5 ERA, a 1.02 whip. He hasn't been as great in his last 6 starts, 4.5 ERA, a 1.03 whip, an important 10 home runs allowed. Now, Yankee Stadium, it's obviously easier to hit a home run there than it is in the on the road. But Cole has been doing this all year long. 33 home runs allowed in his 202 innings pitched. And in 2 starts versus Cleveland, he had 1 start where he went 6 2/3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. That was back in April. I'd argue the Guardians are a much different team than you see on October 11th. And then obviously 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs in July. Now, Cole, I just want to dive into his numbers a tad bit more. He's allowed 3+ earned runs in 14 of his 33 starts, 42% of the time. Look, if Cole can give us 3 earned runs, this is no sweat bet. But he's also given up 2+ in 61% of his starts. And once he comes out, the Yankees bullpen is solid, 3.09 ERA over the last 30 days. I believe that is 6th in the MLB. But we know this Yankees bullpen is still capable of runs. Now, I do wish, selfishly, that Aroldis Chapman was on the playoff squad, but obviously that broke news. He's going to be not a Yankee next year. But let's talk about how this bet can cash, because it can cash early. Cole gives us a couple turkeys, and they hit them out of the park. It could cash late. It could cash in extra innings. It could cash in garbage time when the Yankees are up 25-0. They're like, yeah, we don't want to put our good bullpen out there. Let's put out the bad guys and let those guys get hit around. Either way, I think the Guardians are certainly a capable enough offense. Give me 2.5 runs. Give me 3. I think they can get it done. I don't necessarily know if they win this game, but they could lose 4-3, which would still, I believe, cash the under for this game, but they would still go over their team total. I think there's a lot of different ways they can do that. Now, kind of segueing into our parlay of the day before we jump into our series predictions, you can read this on OddsJam. You can see exactly why we like each of those games. We're diving into the other 2 games. We do like the Padres +1.5, and we like the over in the 7.5 in that Braves-Phillies game. Go check that OddsJam link down below. You'll see exactly why we like all those likes. But, Logan, this is the best time of the year because we can talk about all the 4 different series. I mean, this is the last time we'll have 4 series going on all on one day. But I'm curious who you like in this Braves-Phillies one, and I'll put them up on the screen who we like. But what's your argument for the Braves?
Yeah, I do like the Braves, and it's my only chalk pick out of these series, but I think the Braves have a really good chance to win this one. It really does come down to pitching. The arms like Fried and Strider make a lot of difference, and I do trust the Atlanta bats to be more consistent. Riley, Swanson, playoff tested, World Series tested. I just don't think the Phillies are quite there yet, and I know the Phillies bullpen has been better, but if you told me that they lose a few of these games late in the Phillies bullpen collapses, I'd say that sounds about right.
Yeah, so this is probably, one of the ones we don't disagree on. And I don't necessarily, I'm not going to come out here and say, 10 unit max, although my 10 unit max whale play was on the Phillies against the Cardinals, and that was an easy, no sweat winner. But I think the Phillies got a chance here. This is a team riding with some momentum. Obviously, you talk about the Braves. They've been a couple days off. And I think the Phillies, if their pitching staff can hold up, I think they have a chance. I don't necessarily think this Braves pitching staff is the best in the world. Fried's solid, but let's get after that. Strider's been capable of giving up runs. You got Kyle Wright. You got Morton out there. I think all those guys are capable of being hit. And if the Phillies offense gets hot like we've seen them do throughout the MLB season, I think they could get it done. I'm not saying they're going to come out here and win, sweep the Braves. The Braves are obviously a formidable foe, but I think they got a chance. They could steal game 1. Maybe the Braves are rusty, and then you have a chance to hedge, and you'll guarantee some money on both sides.
Yeah, I could see it. I'm interested to see what happens. Hopefully the city of Philadelphia welcomes me back after picking against the Phillies twice now.
Shame on you. Let's go to the Astros Mariners. I got Mariners on here. Give me your case because I know you're a Mariners. I don't even think you're a closet Mariners fan anymore. You're all out.
I just love the Mariners, and I think the value is too great to pass up. When you're looking at these series bets, you do have to ask yourself, is there value on the other team? There's definitely value on the Mariners, right? In the MLB playoffs, How many times do we see a hot team win in advance, right? The Mariners are arguably the hottest team left in the playoffs right now. I just think the Mariners are bringing really scorching hot bats to Houston. And if it does continue, they have a good enough pitching staff. They have a really good, solid bullpen. They have what it takes to take down Houston and pull off the upset in this one.
Yeah, and ultimately, I chose the Astros in this series solely because I think they have a little bit more playoff experience, and I think they have more depth in their pitching. I think the Padres or you look at the Mariners are a little bit top heavy. I don't trust if they have to go to Marco Gonzalez, like that's a free Astros win. That guy stinks. So I hope that look. Sign me up for the Mariners to get it done, but I think the Astros end up winning that one. But hopefully it's a long series that we can talk about for several days and several games. Now, moving on the Guardians Yankees, you're aggravating. I think you're picking the Guardians just out of spite for all the Yankees fans.
Yeah, well, screw you, Yankees. I hope you go home. But no, I really do like the Guardians in this one. Now, whatever they did in their last series versus Tampa Bay, that's different. There's a lot of capable hitters, 1 through 9. On this Cleveland Guardians team. And in playoff, I want teams that put the ball in play. I'd argue there's no better team, in the playoffs right now than the Guardians at just putting the balls in play and just seeing what happens. You got a runner, in scoring position. Can you knock that guy home? Guardians obviously have a capable pitching staff. Look, when it comes down to it, I just like the Guardians. Again, value-wise, I'm not trying to lay a ton of juice on the Bronx Bombers to just get it done.
Yeah, I feel that. I probably wouldn't bet Yankees. I just think they're the team that wins that series. I think, a lot of these games come down to, who can score the most runs and home run balls and stuff like that. And obviously this Yankees lineup is capable of doing that. But it's worth noting. I mean, the Yankees, I would argue, you look at the Guardians lineup, barring, a couple of injuries here and there, they've had the large in part the same lineup for basically the whole season long. I swear the Yankees lineup has shifted 45 times in the last 45 games. So there's a lot more consistency with the Guardians. We'll see if that plans out and what changes. Both teams have pretty good bullpens too. So I'm curious on that. I think that's going to be a very intriguing series. I've seen a lot of people go on each side. Some people are Yankees homers. Some people think the Guardians have a chance. And then, let's wrap it up. Let's talk about Dodgers Padres. We haven't really talked about this series in any of the games. Do you think the Padres can stay hot?
Yeah, I do. And I'm not picking chalk. Go pick Dodgers, pick chalk, right? I'm picking the team that's hot too. I saw them against the Mets, right? And at crazy, plus value odds. Sure, the Padres can do it now. I don't really necessarily like their game. Their game one starter is good, and I think they can actually get to Urias and make this series really interesting. The Padres definitely have the bats to be able to go toe-to-toe with their in-state rivals, the Dodgers, in this one. I think this is going to be a really, really good series. I think this probably goes the distance as well because both these teams can beat up on each other. Give me the Padres in a surprise upset.
Hey, that would be a shock the world. I know there's so many Dodgers World Series tickets on the line. I think they do get it done and get out of that series, and we see maybe they team up. I don't know. That would be an interesting one. I'll root for the Padres just because I like to see, newer teams just kind of surprise on the scene. Obviously, the Padres have a lot of, hope for not only this year, but for the future, given all their assets they got. But I don't know if they're capable of beating the Dodgers right now. But we'll see. The Dodgers haven't been the Dodgers over the past month or so. They really haven't been, been a lot of injuries, a lot of hot and cold guys. So will be interesting. But that's going to wrap it up. Those are our series predictions. Our two plays are at the bottom of the screen. Mariners plus 1.5. And then we're taking the Guardians team total over 2.5. And then our parlay of the day, which you can find on OddsJam, Padres plus 1.5 and the over 7.5 runs in that Braves versus Phillies game. We appreciate you guys always for tuning in. Thank you guys again for 42,000 subscribers. Let's keep climbing. We'll see you guys back again probably tomorrow for some more picks. Peace.